Good morning, good day, and good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I am your host for today, DrTorment, and today I have decided that we are going to do something a little more on the artistic side of things. Now, don't get me wrong, storytelling and all is, of course, part of the arts, but in this case, I was thinking poetry, because why not? It's been a while since I did some poetry myself, and I'm kind of getting back into it. It's going to be fun. But first, let's see who's already present. By all means, if you have just joined us, do let yourself be known in the chat. I do love a captive audience. I see that Cindy has already arrived. She was a little early. Hello, Cindy. Welcome. I do hope you have something to keep yourself warm with, since you are so freaking cold. I see that Siren has also joined. That was right before... Yeah, you joined just now, I think. Who says, alright, my errands are done so I can hang while painting. Ooh, what you painting, Siren? Here I am talking about the art and we actually have a painter among us. Alright, my curiosity is piqued. You have my undivided attention. We will wait. Everybody, we are going to wait until Siren is going to give us an answer. No pressure, of course. While we wait, however, some of you may know that I have recently changed my setup. I have a new mic, this time with an XLR cable, and also for the first time in my life, I've been working with a microphone interface. It's quite something. It took about 4 to 5 hours to set the entire thing up, more fine-tuning and tweaking, all thanks to House of Jen. So House of Jen, if you're in the stream, once again, thank you for your time and patience there. Suburban Siren says, I mostly paint random things I find. You know what? Fair enough. I can relate to this. Not in terms of painting, but when it comes to narrations, I pretty much just scour the internet. Prefer not to do any Reddit stuff anymore because I don't know, I've gotten a bad taste from Reddit this last year and the year before that, basically 2 years. I don't know what it is. It's just, it's certainly not a downgrade in quality. It's just, it's hard to find, if you don't already know certain Reddit authors that you have a connection with, it's hard to find genuine new ones nowadays because it's just so overflooded with AI crap. But that's a rant for another time. Cindy is happy that I contacted Jen. I say, yay, Jen! Suburban Siren. I do have an example at hand if interested. By all means, yes. If you will, send it over to Discord. I'll have a look. No worry, I won't put it on the stream or anything. That would be private. That also said, speaking of things that I will put on the stream, and that is something I need to get first. Do I have... Hang on a tick. Do I actually have it on me beautiful laptop? That said, back to the microphone and interface. It has been fine tweaked, it has been set up, but you might hear some... It's a dynamic microphone, so it's a little bit more sensitive. You might hear some things in the background that should not be there. I'm looking at you, kitties. No, they're not making any noise now, but that's what they do. Let's see here. Do I... Oh, look at that. I actually do. Can I put them on... Can I put those on the stream? That is a good question. I'm going to say yes. And of course, I'll also credit the artist. So what I'm referring to here is, for those who follow me on Instagram, I have made a post yesterday about DrTorment chibis that appeared. Yes, you heard me correctly. Chibis. The artist was kind enough for me to let them be featured on the Instagrams. And I want to go a little further, make sure that they are very well. Lilith, I need to type something on the keyboard, sweetheart. Can you please, like, scoot? No, you're gonna define. Yeah, you're gonna be defiant today. This is your sit. This is your seat. Yeah, okay, you're gonna do this then today. Okay. There's just no negotiating with you, is there, sweetie? Good Lord Almighty. Oh, what just happened here? My mistake. Wow, I did not expect that to happen. Why was it so big? Oh, jeez. Why did it appear on the screen like that? That should not happen. Why is it so automatically? Does that happen again? Oh, good lord, yes, it does. Alright, making this a whole lot smaller. There we are. There we are. It's all hunky-dory. It's fine. It's fine. Get out. Get off from that corner. Okay, it doesn't want to get out of that corner. Okay, there we are. So I have no idea. Usually there's like two screens, right? So one screen where I put the things in as a preview, and then I can fade them in, basically, later on. But yeah. Here we are. Little Tommy Chibi. Good lord, now the second one. Oof. Oh, this is gonna be fun. Okay, here we whoop. Oh, he looks at you with his soulless eyes. The bastard. Absolute bastard. Yeah, there we are. Okay. So basically, two little chibis, they're the same, sure, but also said one blushes and the other does not. I think that's very important to know. The name of the artist I also am going to put in. There we are, much better. They will be there for the entirety of the stream, by the way. Just gonna do this so that there's a little more room for text over there. Chibis. I think the first DrTorment chibis I have here. That's nice. Okay, text. You may notice I don't do this a lot. Is another duplicate button? I feel like there should be a properties. Lilith, what I do need the keyboard. Yeah, sure. Push your bum up my face. Why not? There. Just hoping that the name will appear without much. Oh, can't you see the resemblance? I sure can't. It's back in the days when I was still wearing a cape, don't you know? Jesus Christ, that little auto-click feature. I hate it so much. Oop. There we are. That is the name of the artist, as they are known on the Instagrams. By all means, visit them. Tell them I said hello. Also, tell them that they're French, and tell them it's from me. They'll love it. Maybe not, but still. Okie dokie. Back to the stream proper. Suburban Siren. If you didn't see, I shared some pictures of one of my things. Oh, you did? Just a sec. Also, regarding the new microphone, how is sound quality? Is it good? Everybody can understand me? Usually, you should be able to, I think. Now, what is this? Oh, duh. Okay, I thought like painting like an entire canvas. Okay, okie dokie. That's like cute. You know, we're gonna make this exclusive Discord content. If you want to see what Suburban Siren has made, you just have to come to our Discord. It's such a lovely place to be. You know what? Just to show my goodwill, have a link. It's in the chat right now. Come, join, say hello. And with that said, let's start off with our first reading. Let's see, what am I in the mood? You know what? Edgar Allan Poe. I saw that Ponchy, that is Punch Monster Studios, another narrator, did Annabelle Lee earlier in the week and got me back into that Edgar Allan Poe feeling, right? And one of my favorite ones, besides Annabelle Lee and the Raven, is The Conqueror Worm. It's a little more shorter and obscurer, but it is one of my favorite ones by the man. And that'll be our first reading. Let me just set it up and put it on the screen. As soon as OBS wants to play along, there we are. And Lilith, I really, sweetie, I really need my keyboard, sweetie. Yes, I know, you hate me today, I know. There we are. I need to put that down, sweetie. Now, by my knowing Edgar Allan Poe is with 2 elves? Yeah, it was. Yeah. Boop. Whoop. Too big. That's better. There we are. The Conqueror Worm by Edgar Allan Poe. That twice, just say bye twice. No. Can't have that. The perfectionist in me is my biggest enemy. There. Alright then, without further ado, let us begin. Lo, 'tis a gala night within the lonesome latter years. An angel throng, bewinged, bedight, in veils and drowned in tears, sit in a theatre to see a play of hopes and fears, while the orchestra breathes fitfully the music of the spheres. Mimes in the form of God on high mutter and mumble low, and hither and thither fly, mere puppets they who come and go, at bidding of vast formless things that shift the scenery to and fro, flapping from their condor wings invisible woe. That motley drama, oh, be sure it shall not be forgot, with its phantom chased forevermore by a crowd that sees it not, through a circle that ever returneth to the self-same spot, and much of madness and more of sin, and horror the soul of the plot. But see, amid the mimic rout, a crawling shape intrude, a blood-red thing that writhes from out the scenic solitude. It writhes with mortal pangs, the minds become its food, and seraphs sob at vermin fangs, in human gore imbued. Out are the lights, out all! And over each quivering form the curtain, a funeral pall, comes down with a rush of a storm, while the angels, all pallid and wan, uprising, unveiling, affirm that the play is the tragedy, man, and its hero, the Conqueror Worm. And there we have it, The Conqueror by Edgar Allan Poe. It is a poem that I also have covered on the channel. I think about 2 years ago by now. And it remains one of my favorite ones. Also, hello Ash, welcome to the stream. How are you? And once again, any suggestions for poems you want me to read? There is a Q&A pinned to the top of the chat. By all means, give me your suggestions. Oh, good lord. What's happening? What is that sound? That's my intro sound, isn't it? Oh! Oh, welcome, Night Now Ronan. You are now officially admitted into the intensive treatment. Welcome in channel membership. Hello to the inmate level. Thank you also. Thank you. Thank you and welcome. I'm so not used to hearing that sound anymore. Oh, good lord. Gave me a proper fright there. Thank you for jump scaring me into joy. Thank you for that. Oh, good lord. I was just about to check the Q&A if anyone submitted poems and suddenly that happened. Oof. I'm not this jumpy, usually. I'm really not did Dead Space break me? I feel Dead Space broke me. Oh, yeah. Okay. Let's see. There was another one that I'd like to redo. What was it again? The Listeners, I believe. Lilith, seriously, I do need the keyboard. And yeah, right, you're gonna hurt me if I do that, don't you? Yeah, you're gonna hurt me. Okay, let's let you may stay. It's fine. It's fine. I don't need a keyboard that much. It's fine. Go ahead. See if I care. I do care. I'm crying so much. I'm crying so much right now. Let's see. And now, second poem is going to be... Yes, Lilith, I know. How dare I move you an inch? Less than that. The Listeners... Sweetie... Seriously, Did you just swat me on the lips? I need the lips. I'm reading live, sweetie. Please, don't swat me on the lips. Okay, where was I? Ah, yes. The Listeners by Walter de la Mare. Actually, to just make it easier, what is to be read and who the author is, I'm just gonna put in this. There we are. Yeah, that's much better. Yeah, that's much better. It's so strange using the big screen again for live streams. Because I'm used to Dead Space now. The last few live streams I used a little screen for actually YouTube Studio and the likes. YouTube Studio and OBS. So returning to the big screen, my god, I have to readjust myself. Ooh. Oh, that's much better. Oh yes, that's much better. And you know what? Instead of studio mode, go away. Nobody likes you studio mode. You're confusing as heck. There we are. Alright, first let me read up on the chat here, because I have not been looking for a minute or two, I believe. Sorry about that. Glad to be admitted. Hope the food is good. Lol. Well, Ronan, here's the thing. This is my asylum. If you want good food, well, I suppose something is running around you can eat. Sorry about that. Well, don't be sorry. I mean, I have it installed like that, so honestly, I should be apologizing to myself. But alas, my schizophrenic episodes are not scheduled due Wednesday, I believe. So we're not gonna do that. And yes, Dead Space will do that to you. Break me? Yeah. Tommy, you don't have any lips, says Ronan. I mean, you know what? Touché. Touché. Whose lips? Where did you get them, Torment? Well, Siren, here's the thing. I cannot give away my sources so easily, right? Otherwise, everybody wants to have pieces of everybody else. Alright, Lady Spucaria also has her own trusted sources where she gets limbs from and organs. I have my trusted sources. Simple as that. Certainly isn't the goodest boy ever. No, no. Yeah, it's okay. I'm on an All Souls diet, says Ronan. You know what? Fair enough. I do share a similar palate. Alright, without further ado, The Listeners by Walter de la Mare. Another one that I'm familiar with and has been quite a while. Let me have a little sip. And here we go. Is there anybody there? Said the traveler, knocking on the moonlit door, and his horse in the silence champed the grasses of the forest's ferny floor, and a bird flew up out of the turret above the traveler's head, and he smote upon the door again a second time. Is there anybody there? He said, but no one descended to the traveler. No head from the leaf-fringed sill leaned over and looked into his grey eyes, where he stood perplexed and still. But only a host of phantom listeners that dwelled in the lone house then stood listening in the quiet of the moonlight to that voice from the world of men. Stood thronging the faint moonbeams on the dark stair that goes down to the empty hall, hearkening in an air stirred and shaken by the lonely traveler's call. And he felt in his heart their strangeness, their stillness answering his cry, while his horse moved, cropping the dark turf neath the starred and leafy sky. For he suddenly smote on the door even louder, and lifted his head. Tell them I came and no one answered, that I kept my word, he said. Never the least stir made the listeners, though every word he spake fell echoing through the shadowiness of the still house. From the one man left awake, aye, they heard his foot upon the stirrup, and the sound of iron and stone, and how the silence surged softly backward, when the plunging hooves were gone. Okie dokie, that was another shorty but a goodie. Also, hello SJ Curtis, welcome. Haven't seen you in a while, how have you been? I just finished reading The Listeners by Walter de la Mare. This is going to be a poetry stream if the, description of the title didn't give that away. And on the screen you'll see two new chibis created by Rowan Draws on Instagram. It's been fun. That said, I forgot to open up my Gmail, which is important because there are one or two submissions I have received quite a while back that I would like to read as well as part of this stream. One is, most of them are from a someone that should be familiar in the channel at least. Nicholas Leonard. If you're not familiar with Nicholas, what the hell? I'm so sorry. Oh, Nicholas, if you read this, that was just a slip of the tongue, I swear. Anyway, if you want to see Nicholas's work, by all means, there are other narrators that do his work more frequently than I am able to. I have covered 3 of his works, I believe. The Dove Grey Mask is one of them. The Curse of Queen Euphorius, and lastly, The Scarlet Stringed Lyre. All 3 of those poems are on the channel if you want to have a listen about his work. Now, I won't be covering one of those 3 because, again, those videos are, matters of timeline, quite new. So I'll be reading something else that he has been writing. Let me see. That is the... Oop. There we are. I have to look specifically what is a poem though, because he also sent me quite a bit of short stories, which I also should get along with at some point. Let me see. There were more links, weren't there? I want to say there were more. That is the 5th of July. He also has some really good short stories about, mainly about chimpanzee. Now that I can think of it, and that's, I think it was inspired. Like he has a similar writing style to Edgar Allan Poe himself, just with a modern twist, if you will, with a modern touch. Oh, Curtis, you've joined the asylum on Discord. All right, hang on a tick. Let me give you your role here. Otherwise, you cannot see the rest of the server. We wouldn't want that, would we? There we are. And there we are. Welcome, new patient. Welcome, welcome. Again, I need to have a look at the chat because it has been a minute. Doing well to trying to stay warm. Okay, so Curtis, Cindy, I see a lot of these being cold comments. I need to know where you live. Is it that cold right now? Like, is it somewhere up the north? Or... Unless, of course, I'm missing something here. Probably yes. Knowing me, probably yes. I'm in Norfolk, says Cindy. Well, yeah, here's the thing. I have no idea what that is. Oh, wait, that VA, that's Virginia, right? If I'm wrong, by all means, correct me. I have very bad geography about the United States. Which is fair, because most people I know from the United States also has bad geography about Europe. So, you know, it's kind of 50-50. We share our ignorance together here. Oh, Virginia, look at that, I was right. Nice. Here's the thing though, now I remember, Cindy told me this like a few times already. I just have a sucky memory like that. Alright. That's on me. That is on me. Sucky memory. Stupid DrTorment and a short-term memory. I know. I'm so sorry. Let's see. I haven't really found the poem I was looking for on Nicholas's end. Which is weird, because I thought I had it somewhere. I had it somewhere. I thought I had it somewhere saved, but apparently not. So there was a nice one that he wrote rather recently. It's about one of my favorite franchises in the world, Star Wars. And it's not as near and dear to me as Lord of the Rings is, but hey, it's close. He made a poem about the love story of Anakin and Padmé, and I was thinking, oh, I can perhaps narrate this live, but with a Palpatine voice. Keep it fun. I do believe he'd sent me this on Instagram as well, so I might just read it off of Instagram in a bit. Not now, though. We are now going to move on to our next reading. Once again, if you're new on the stream, I have put up a Q&A that basically works as a suggestion box for poems. So if you have any poems you'd like me to read, by all means, send it over to my suggestion box or let me know in the chat. Always open to new experiences like that. I remember Ghost House was once Somebody recommended Ghost House to me. It's a friend of mine that basically told me this one. I have... Who was the author of that one? Can't remember. I can't remember. Ghost House, go. It's about... Wait, hang on. Is that Robert Frost? I think it's Robert Frost. Robert Frost. Certainly sounds like it. Right, he wrote something called Ghost House or something like that. I'm sure of it. Yeah, there it is. See, I knew it. Alright, that's gonna be our next reading then, because once again, I am a sucker for the classics. Where is my... There you are. Lilith, I love you to death, but please, why are you keeping my wrist hostage? I need to turn... If I want to type, I need to... You know what, I'm gonna move the keyboard a little bit. That's on you. Yes, I know. How dare I wake you from the nap where you're using my wrist as a pillow? How dare I? How dare I indeed? Gonna make this a bit bigger. There you go. Alright, next reading for next reading for the stream. Ghost House by Robert Frost. Gonna take a little sip. Okie dokie. Let us begin. I dwell in a lonely house I know vanished many a summer ago, and left no trace but the cellar calls, and a cellar in which the daylight falls, and the purple-stemmed wild raspberries grow. O'er ruined fences and the grapevine shield, the woods came back to the mowing field. The orchard tree has grown one copse of new wood and old where the woodpecker chops. The footpath down the well is healed. I dwell with a strangely aching heart in that vanished abode, there far apart on that disused and forgotten road, that has no dust bath for the toad. Night comes, the black bats tumble and dart. The whippoorwill is coming to shout, and hush and cluck and flutter about. I hear him begin far enough away, full many a time to say his say, before he arrives to say it out. It is under the small, dim summer star, I know not how these mute folk are, who share the unlit place with me. Those stones out under the low-limbed tree doubtless bear names that the mosses mar. Little correction. They are tireless folk, but slow and sad, though too close-keeping are lass and lad, with none among them that ever sings, and yet in view of how many things, as sweet companions as might be had. And here we are. Ghost House by Robert Frost. So once again, new setup, new microphone. Do let me know how it sounds. I am still very much experimenting with it. Now, the next poem that I had in mind, which I also fully intend to make a video of in the future, is a long one. It's a little bit long. But, given today's climate, I think it is a very important one to spread around. And it is called... There we are. Stupid window. Here we go. So a little bit of context. The Hangman by Maurice Ogden is a very classic poem. Well, not so classic. It's a little bit newer, but compared to Edgar Allan Poe and Lovecraft and stuff. But I think now more than ever, it's a very important poem to share and spread. Why? I'll tell you exactly why. This is about the consequences of people, or the people that choose to hear, see, and say no evil, and what happens to them in the end as well. Mostly. Not always, but mostly. Again, I think it's a very important poem to share and recite in today's climate. I might have to... like I said, it's a bit of a lengthy tone, so there might be some instances where I have to briefly pause and take a sip of my water. Once or twice, not that much. There we are. Alright then, let us begin with The Hangman by Maurice Ogden. Into our town the hangman came, smelling of gold and blood and flame, and he paced our bricks with a diffident air, and built his frame on the courthouse square. The scaffold stood by the courthouse side, only as wide as the doors were wide, a frame as tall or little more than the capping sill of the courthouse door. And we wondered, whenever we had the time, who the criminal, what the crime, the hangman judged with the yellow twist of knotted hem in his busy fist. And innocent though we were, with dread we passed those eyes of buckshed lead, till one cried, "Hangman, who is he from whom you raised the gallows tree?" Then with a twinkle, wow. Then a twinkle grew in the buckshot eye, and he gave us a riddle instead of reply. "He who serves me best," said he, "shall earn the rope on the gallows tree." And he stepped down and laid his hand on a man who came from another land, and we breathed again, for another's grief at the hangman's hand was our relief. And the gallows frame on the courthouse lawn by tomorrow's sun would be struck and gone. So we gave him away, and no one spoke, out of respect for this hangman's cloak. The next day sun looked mildly down on roof and street in our quiet town, and stark and black in the morning air, the gallows tree on the courthouse square. And the hangman stood at his usual stand with the yellow hemp in his busy hand, with his buckshot eye and his jaw like a pike, and his air so knowing and businesslike. And we cried, "Hangman, have you not done yesterday with the alien one?" Then we fell silent and stood amazed. Oh, not for him was the gallows raised. He laughed and laughed as he looked at us. "Did you think I'd gone to all this fuss to hang one man? That's a thing I do, to stretch the rope when the rope is new." Then one cried, "Murderer!" One cried, "Shame!" And into our midst the hangman came to that man's place. "Do you hold," said he, "with him that's meant for the gallows tree?" And he laid his hand on that one's arm, and we shrank back in quick alarm. And we gave him away, and no one spoke out of fear of his hangman's cloak. That night we saw with dread surprise the hangman's scaffold had grown in size, Fed by the blood beneath the chute, the gallows tree had taken root. Now as wide or a little more than the steps that led to the courthouse door, as tall as the writing or nearly as tall, halfway up on the courthouse wall. The third he took, and we had all heard tell, was an ussurer and infidel. And what, said the hangman, have you to do with the gallows bound, and he a Jew? And we cried out, is this one he who has served you well and faithfully? The hangman smiled. It's a clever scheme to try the strength of the gallows beam. The fourth man's dark accusing song had scratched out comfort hard and long. And what concern, he gave us back, have you for the doomed and black. The fifth, the sixth, and we cried again, Hangman, hangman, is this the man? It is a trick, he said, that we hangmen know for easing the trap when the trap springs slow. And so we ceased and asked no more, as the hangman tallied his bloody score. And sun by sun and night by night, the gallows grew to monstrous height. The wings of the scaffold opened wide, till they covered the square from side to side, and the monster crossbeam looking down cast its shadow across the town. Then through the town the hangman came, and called in the empty streets my name, and I looked at the gallows soaring tall and thought, there is no one left at all for hanging, and so he calls to me to help him pull down the gallows tree. And I went out with right good hope to the hangman's tree and the hangman's rope. Little sip. He smiled at me as I came down to the courthouse square through the silent town, and supple and stretched in his busy hand was the yellow twist of the hempen strand. And he whistled his tune as he tried the trap, and it sprang down with a ready snap. And then with a smile of awful command, he laid his hand upon my hand. You tricked me, hangman, I shouted then, that your scaffold was built for other men, and I, no henchman of yours, I cried. You lied to me, hangman, foully lied. Then a twinkle grew in the buckshot eye. Lied to you, tricked you, he said, not I. For I answered straight, and I told you true. The scaffold was raised for none but you. For who has served me more faithfully than you with your coward's hope, said he. And where are the others that might have stood side by your side in the common good? Dead, I whispered, and amiably murdered, the hangman corrected me. First the alien, then the Jew, I did no more than you let me do. Beneath the beam that blocked the sky, none had stood so alone as I. And the hangman strapped me, and no voice there cried, stay, for me in the empty square. And there we are, The Hangman by Maurice Ogden. Like I said, you might you might understand by the lines alone why I find this a very important piece of poetry that should be shared and recited nowadays. It is something that, again, I think is very important. Art never dies, right? That's one of the reasons that we actually have art, to express and tell what we cannot, what we cannot say in words. or in this case, to basically let the message be come across without any satire around it. Like I said, I do fully plan to make a video out of this, or if I can, we'll make a video out of this. With Maurice, Ogden, I'm not entirely sure if Wow, I'm tripping over my words today. It's been a while. Like I want to say, I'm not entirely sure with Maurice Ogden if narrations can be done. Like, I think they can be done. Like, the estate doesn't really mind it so long as proper credit is given. But, yeah, it might still be copyrighted work. It's a bit of a 50-50 thing, you know? Like, it might be copyrighted, but the estate is basically like, yeah, you can recite it, just make sure that the credits are there. And so on, so on. Or maybe the estate will be more like, yeah, you can't do that, mate. And maybe send a DMCA strike towards the channel. Wouldn't want that, so I am definitely going to make some inquiries before I make that decision. But in matters of live streaming, it should be fine. Like I said, there is context behind why I actually did choose this poem to recite today. Besides it being one of my favorite ones. Let's see, how long has the stream been going on? Good, good. I believe one more poem before we are going to enter a break. That sounds good, right? One more poem? Yeah, I think so. You know what? I actually am going to read one of Nicholas Leonard's poems that I've already read. It's been a while. I actually like his poems so much I don't really mind. Let's see, which one shall we do? My absolute favorite one is the Scarlet String Blyre, but I think I've already said that one in a in a live stream. I think I did. Oh wait, the Dove Grey Mask. That has been a long time ago. Do I still have it? I should have it. So surely I should, right? There we are. Okay, all right. Next poem. Where's my OBS studio? There you are. Oh, no, don't get in the chat box now, title. There we are. Okay. Oh, that reminds me. Let me have a look in the chat. Thank you, everybody, for for that about the Hangman. Thank you. Yeah, I love the Discord movie stream. I loved it so much. Well, thank you, Ash. Thank you. Like I said, during the Discord movie night, I do intend to do them every 2 weeks, if all goes as planned. Because again, I cannot really speak for my time schedule, which is hectic as hell, having 2 part-time jobs. The channel already suffers on it that I don't really have any stories at the moment lined up. Well, I do have some lined up, I just need to finish them with the narration parts. Trust me, I really don't have that much time on my hands. But that said, I am going to do some effort to free up set time. I should be able to, as of next week, if all goes well. Just have to do a little bit of negotiation there. But that said, without further ado, before the break, let us continue this poetry live stream with The Dove Grey Mask by Nicholas Leonard. Did I spell his name correctly in the stream? Yes, I did. Okie dokie. No, need to enlarge that a little bit. There we are. No one saw me awkwardly persevere into that mysterious masquerade where strangers waltzed. How dim the chandelier with moonbeams that our phone screens used to make revealed nobody's mask was dyed the same. But when I saw each couple's visits match and felt the pigeon velvet on my face, I knew I had to find the dove-grey mask. I saw the orbit of a yellow pair, their matching yellow masks parallel, and in the dance, their eyes maintained the stare. As bound as nuclei inside a cell, they linked though nature said to part themselves. I knew that yellow couple wouldn't crack as they into the masses carouseled into the crowd without a dove-grey mask. My mask, as grey as David's statue's tears, I almost went to tear it off my face. I thought I was a victim of malware. A virus turned my mask another shade that wasn't originally dove-grey. Though all the color in my cheeks amassed into a pink no fabric replicates, I knew I had to find the dove-grey mask. And in embarrassment, some hope appeared. What aurora borealis was made inside the ballroom's stained-glassed thermosphere. The other wearer of my mask was late, I thought, or looking for me somewhere strange, inside a library upstairs or back, inside the crooked woods where fog is laid, where fog's enticed to touch her dove-grey mask. A figment figure at a foggy pier, about to board a Charon's skiff by mistake. Kitty cat, please. No, I'm reading. That's such a good flow going. Christ. All right, from the top. Yes, that was one of my cats interrupting me ever so rudely, I will add. Kitty chaos, I missed it. Her figment figure at a foggy pier about to board Charon's skiff by mistake. A road where her horse too quickly reared, where unidentified her body lays. Or standing in a crowd, I scan in vain, condemned from moving till we meet at last, condemned and anchored by a cursed bouquet, and anchored by the numbing dove-grey mask. And so I entered, overly aware, into the living music box. A man adrift inside its ballerina gears who didn't have someone to take his hand. A man who ambled forth as others danced, a sorry hand on the small of their backs. Oh, there was such a gradual advance, and still nobody wore the dove-grey mask. I was the meteor these planets shared, and played their merry games of tennis whiff. My tennis ball hearts dribble weakening, my mask as pale as moon when day begins. The crowd ignored me in the room's axis, beneath the phone screen chandelier, entrapped. I felt the desperate slowness when I blinked while I tried to find the dove-grey mask. My lostness ended on a set of stairs, and there I knew my search would escalate into the corridor beyond the stairs, into the corridor where portraits hanged to tease their stranded guest. The ballroom's wake, like tides against a bottom step, splish-splashed while I made a pace to go and try to find the dove-grey mask. In this black hole, the other world premiered, a trail I hoped my other heart. Again, seriously? Really? Really now? Did your sister tell me to bully me? You've been quiet all day. Now I'm live streaming. You need to jump everywhere? Yeah. Yes, hello. I'm in the middle of a reading, sweetie. I know, but please, may I? Fine, alright, here. There's your space. I have my keyboard, you have your space. Can I please continue the reading? Thank you. Where the hell was I? From the top. Over here. No, don't get any ideas, you. There we are. In this black hole, the other world premiere, a trail I hoped my other half had made. In darkness, candle wax cologned the air, for previously it seemed they lost their flame to taciturning lips. The wicks exchanged their lights to taste the air her lungs dispatched. That scent, the candle's final words remained, perhaps the fragrance of the dust of the dove-grey mask. But really? Oi. You see, I have no place on my lap. There's a desk above you. When you come onto my lap, sweetie, it doesn't work like that. Christ. Aye. There you go. See, it's not that hard. Jesus. That's the mother of the three, by the way. Lilith right now wants attention and is trying to find her spot on my lap, which would have been fine if I was on the couch, but I am not. I am at my desk with the desk chair, and she can't squeeze in between the surface of the desk and my legs. That's just not gonna happen. Is it, sweetie? But you try, don't you? With all your might and claws, do you try? Christ, my legs are like cat scratches at this point. What was I? Right. By now my perspiration overbeared, a sweat the faint beginnings of a stain of which I hope my partner wouldn't care. In looking to and fro, my hair uncame, a frontal lock rebounding out of place that only she was meant to pilot back. The curl would fit her finger like a ring, for both of us had on the dove-grey mask. You've kind of ruined my tone, sweetie. Oh, no, not my tone, rhythm. Kind of ruined my rhythm there, sweetie. If this was an actual recording for a video, I would have started straight from the beginning. Restarted, I mean that. Like when I say from the top, I really mean from the top. Straight up from the first line ever on this page. But it is luckily not a recording, is it? Okay, continuing. Into a library I pioneered, a room where wooden bookshelves made their maze, and though the woodwork trees had shaved their beards, I smelled 1,000 novels aftershave, and not my partner's blown-out candle musk. But still I paced the aisles, looking back to see if she'd be reading all the authors' names in search of mine to find the dove-grey mask. Onto a greenhouse balcony I veered, a school where hostess scribbled down essays and made me feel transported back in years. A student searching for someone who'd play with me, for summer was coming too late. My school bell heart about to ring at last. A delinquent about to graduate, about to find who wore the dove-grey mask. Out here the roses shared their final tear and gardens huddled like the Grecian fates. And that is where I saw her standing there. And that is when I knew I was too late. For only the dead possess her restraint, the patience that a living soulmate lacked. Because I sprinted to her and she stayed, a ghost who had to wear the dove-grey mask. That's just the roof, sweetie. Don't freak, please don't freak out. I have a glass of water. And the laptop is right over there. Please do not freak out over the noises you hear every single bloody day. Thank you. Gonna move my glass of water now. I do not trust this. Also sip. I stripped my mask in one alarming tear and let the roses wear what I disdained. Her listless mouth, my gritted teeth despaired. A woman's ghost who had nothing to say. I cringed, and the world had nothing to say, because I knew our lips would never latch. Was that the smile Mona Lisa gave? Was that my soulmate in a dove-grey mask? Still I hugged the dying atoms that was my dear, and felt her eyes flash fade and fade, and knew this was what goosebumps bloom into, while my body yearned to fade the same. Within my arms her slow malfunctions came as her ghost attempted to hug me back. She froze. She twitched. Her movements were delayed, manipulated by the dove-grey mask. What smell the coffee-colored soil aired. Though sweat beneath my shirt forsaked, the water for the roses was elsewhere, or did those flowers self-immolate? And that's the wet and earthy smell I hate, the muggy night that snuffed the candle wax aroma that I thought my love would have, the scent of her who wore the dove-grey mask. I know, my love, thy vanishing is near, but try to dance with me like them, I begged. Oh, but something about her changed. She didn't recognize me anymore, because I flung my dove-grey mask away. A lunge, the only move I would perform, the first and final choreography, and all that was left was the dove-grey mask. On both my knees, on where she disappeared, I bowed my head. A shower of the flakes she used to be, resolving in my hair that she was meant to push back into place. I felt within my love's snow globe remains, her puzzle pieces falling faint as ash that was the dreaded noir shade, that was the color of the dove-grey mask. Yeah, barring any interruptions, that was the Dove-Grey Mask by Nicholas Leonard, a friend of the channel, if you will, and a very good author. Highly recommend looking out for his work either on the Reddits or on Instagram. Highly recommend following him on Instagram. I'm not entirely sure if I have a link to his Instagram to the aforementioned videos, but I will put a link to his Instagram on the description of this live stream when it's over. There we are. Where is my YouTube studio? Oh, there it is. Nah, yeah, that was great, Dr. Kitty spiced it up nicely. yeah, she did. She's still laying here. Like, when the stream started, she was already napping, right? But, I don't know, for some reason, then she decided to start being feisty as we went along. You and your daughters, eh, sweetie? Because your two little girls have also been saying hello in the first part of the stream, didn't they? Didn't they? You're about to hurt me, aren't you? Yes, I'm not going to pet you anymore now. I mean, can I? Yes, I can. The petting is not a problem. It's just talking to you. Is that it? Oop, yep, it's that. Okay. You little Empress Palpatine, you. Okay, that said, I am going to take a small break from here on in. Let's say 5 minutes? Yeah, 5 minutes seems fair. Okie dokie, intermission time. See you in a few. Okie dokie. Break time is over. Finished. Stop drinking, everybody. Naya, keep everybody away from the bar. Then again, make sure that the bar is restocked for later.
Streamlabs.
And welcome back, Ronan, as well.
Streamlabs.
Also, hello, House of Jen. Funny, we mentioned you in the start of the stream. So we were talking about the new setup and how you basically helped me with your knowledge and patience for about 5 hours to help me set up the new microphone and interface. Once again, thank you for that. And what have you missed? Well, Jen, what you have missed is a few poems. You have missed Edgar Allan Poe's The Conqueror Worm, Nicholas Leonard's The Dove Grey Mask, The Ghost House by Robert Frost. I feel like I'm forgetting one. Walter de la Mare's... Wait, which one was it of Walter? See, this is me and my short-term memory. Christ. The Listeners. I've got it. The Listeners of Walter de la Mare, and my personal favorite, which again I thought was very important in today's world and context to recite and share, The Hangman by Maurice Ogden. I'm not gonna recite. I would love to recite the poem, but I'm not gonna. I think. It's my stream, I can do whatever I want. No, I'm not gonna do that. There we are. By Maurice Ogden. Ooh, I have to keep in mind which poems I have been reading, because I also have to put down the titles and the authors in the description after this.
Streamlabs.
Oh yes, did I mention
Streamlabs.
Ronan jump scared me by becoming a channel member? Because he sure did. With my own intro. Like, whew. But it was fun. What else? I did mention that I wanted to do the Hangman in a video, but I have to see what... Again, no, Ronan, you don't have to say sorry for that. I basically installed it like that myself. But again, my schizophrenic episode for apologies are not due till Wednesday. What was I saying again? Streamlabs again? Shush, Streamlabs. Nobody likes you. Oh, I unmuted it. Okay. Okay, my apologies for that. If you hear it again, do let me know. It hasn't appeared during the rest of the stream, right? Previously, before the break, it has not appeared? Because I have been moving a button around, and I need to know if that's the same one. First time, alright, so it was that button. Okay, so the YT chat button, we'll keep that muted from now on. In fact, just to be sure, that volume slider's going way to the left. There we go. I swear, Streamlabs. It's both a blessing and a curse. I'm so glad that I switched to OBS. Because Streamlabs was an absolute nightmare to work with. It popped off twice out of nowhere. Oh, you mean twice after I returned from the break or before? Not before, right? Because Jen heard it twice. Jen, I think you joined in during the break, so it shouldn't be there. It should not have been before. After. Good. That's all I need to know. I know which button it is. Thank you for that, Ronan. Now, next poem. Enough kerfunkling around. Let's see. For the next one is a doozy. Not a personal favorite of mine, don't you know? Let me just put it on the screen. Whoop. No, OBS, please. I was just praising you. Don't be a problem now. Now, again, fans of the channel might recognize this beautiful little piece. This beautiful, dark little piece of poetry. Boom. Gonna enlarge that a little. Boom. Also for the newcomers, hello, I'm DrTorment, and I am going to be your host for this session today. On the screen right now you'll see two chibi drawings made by Rowan and Draws, as they are called on Instagram. By all means, have a visit, like their stuff, share their stuff, tell them they're French, said that I said so, profit. Now then, without further ado, Nemesis by H.P. Lovecraft. But first, a sip of my water, which Lilith still hasn't knocked over. I'm proud of you, sweetie. Thank you. I thought you were going to be a menace all night. Okay, Cindy, see you later. Until our next session, perhaps. Alright, let us begin. Through the ghoul-guarded gateways of slumber, past the wan-mooned abysses of night, I have lived o'er my lives without number. I have sounded all things with my sight, and I struggle and shriek ere the daybreak, being driven to madness with fright. I have whirled with the earth at the dawning, when the sky was a vaporous flame. I have seen the dark universe yawning, where the black planets roll without aim, where they roll in their horror unheeded, without knowledge or luster or name. I had drifted o'er seas without ending, under sinister grey-clouded skies that the many-forked lightning is rending, that resound with hysterical cries, with the moans of invisible daemons that out of the green waters rise. I have plunged like a deer through the arches of the hoary primordial grove, where the oaks feel the presence that marches and stalks on where no spirit dares rove. And I flee from a thing that surrounds me and leers through dead branches above. I have stumbled by cave-ridden mountains that rise barren and bleak from the plain. I have drunk from the fog-fetid fountains that ooze down the marsh and the main. And in hot cursed tarns I have seen things I care not to gaze on again. I have scanned the vast ivy-clad palace, I have trod its untenanted hall, where the moon writhing up from the valleys shews the tapestried things on the wall, strange figures discordantly woven, which I cannot endure to recall. I have peered from the casement in wonder at the mouldering meadows around, at the many-roofed village laid under the curse of the grave-girdled ground. And from rows of white urn-carven marble I listen intently for sound. I have haunted the tombs of the ages, I have flown on the pinions of fear, where the smoke-belching Erebus rages, where the yokels loom snow-clad and drear, and in realms where the sun of the desert consumes what it never can shear. I was old when the pharaohs first mounted the jewel-decked throne by the Nile. I was old in those epochs uncounted, when I, and I only, was vile. And man, yet untamed and happy, dwelled in bliss on the far Arctic Isle. Oh, great was the sin of my spirit, and great is the reach of its doom. Not the pity of heaven can cheer it, nor can respite be found in the tomb. Down the infinite aeons came beating the wings of unmerciful gloom. Through the ghoul-guarded gateways of slumber, past the wan-mooned abysses of night, I have lived o'er my lives without number. I have sounded all things with my sight, and I struggle and shriek ere the day break, being driven to madness with fright. And there we go. Nemesis, written down by H.P. Lovecraft. You may have noted during the reading that it is one of my favorite ones, that I like to go into the more evil aspect when it comes to Lovecraftian stuff. I've seen a lot of people actually debating what this poem is about, either being about Lucifer and stuff like that. But you know what? Lovecraft purely, if not mostly, at best, liked to write about his own mythos, right? So to me it stands to reason that this poem is about Nyarlathotep, the crawling chaos, if you will, and probably the vilest, biggest bad guy in all of the Lovecraft mythos. Like, Cthulhu has nothing on this guy. Absolutely nothing. And also, once again, if you have any suggestions, I have a Q&A set up as a suggestion box for poems that you'd like me to read in this live stream. There have not been any submissions as of yet, but I'm gonna keep it on. Maybe for the future, if I'm doing another poetry live stream, you can have a little think about what you want featured. Oh, I'm a bit in a Lovecraft mood now. Chat, what do you think? Another Lovecraft poem, or should I continue with something else? By all means, the stage is mine, obviously. But what happens on the stage is entirely up to you. In the meantime, I should maybe open up my my browser a little bit so I can actually use my search windows. There we go. I should also not forget to put in the special mentions with Lady Spookaria and Ponchi. House of Jen, can't go wrong with Lovecraft. That is true. That said, the end of the stream will be marked when I read The Raven by Edgar Allan Poe. Because, you know, end with a bang and all that. It's also one of the first, I think my very first poem I ever did on the channel. The Raven. Like, yeah, it's like a cliche go-to for every gothic for every gothic narrator, basically. But you know what? You can't beat the classics. It's just that good. What you gonna do? Actually, I might also read out one of my works. You know what? We'll see. Maybe if I'm in the mood. We'll see. Suburban Siren. I was going to suggest a Raven. Well, don't worry. It's definitely going to come into the stream. It'll just be the last one. You know what? I did promise I would read a Star Wars poem written by Nicholas Leonard. Let me just pull out my phone, because it is on my phone, unfortunately. S.J. Curtis, ever read Shakespeare? Ever read Shakespeare? My man. Of course I've read Shakespeare. Oh wait, you mean on the channel? No, I'm not on the channel and not on a live stream, so if you have any suggestions, by all means, Curtis, do let me know. House of Jen, I'd love to hear more of your work, T. I mean, Jen, by all means, I have a channel where there's almost 280 videos on it. There's plenty of work to be heard. Curtis, on the channel. No, I don't have it on the channel. I really should. I really should have. Yeah, what happened? I actually had that as an idea like last year. Whatever happened to that? Oh, wait, no, that was in the middle of my burnout, I think. Right. I was in the middle of my burnout after I was done with Dracula Chapter 2. So if you didn't know, Dracula Chapter 2 kind of gave me a burnout because it was immediately followed in editing with Chapter 1. Just a second. Is my OBS... Is the stream still running? Whoop. What happened there? Okay, so I was a little bit in a panic mode because YouTube tells me that it's not receiving enough video to maintain smooth streaming. And there was briefly no connection on my end, so I was a little bit in a panic. This is why I hated Streamlabs, because Streamlabs kept... If you were here since the beginning of the channel, Streamlabs kept crashing and I basically had to restart the stream and do a part 2 crap. And OBS, I never had any problem until today with this. So, scary. Very, very scary. Ronan, message retracted. Why is the message retracted? Tell me YouTube's filter is doing overtime again. Ay. Anyways, yeah, that's the story behind the live stream stupidity that I've gone through so far. I was gonna do something. Oh, right. I was going to Why is Ronan? Why are your messages retracted? Are you cussing in the messages? No, right? I mean, no, that would be weird. No. Of course not. No, of course you're not. Where is that? Nicholas, where did I put that poem of yours? New story. Ah, here we are. Narrative poem by Nicholas Leonard, Anakin and Padmé. Okay, let me just put that on the screen that we are reading that. Well, I am reading that. DrTorment is gonna do a Star Wars, guys. Yes. Yes, I am. So this is the same author as the Dove Grey Mask, the Curse of Queen Euphonius, and the Scarlet Stringed Lyre. All three I've already read on the channel. This is something new, something that I have glanced on a few months ago. I think a month or two ago I glanced over the poem, so I'm not entirely familiar. This is very much a cold reading, by the way, by Nicholas Leonard. But the glance that I did read, fantastic. Nicholas really never disappoints on that matter. Naya, you are familiar with Nicholas's work, right? I've seen you narrate some of his stuff as well, even to a even to a what was it? There was something I want. What's the word? Christ. Better degree and also more frequent. That's the word. Sorry. So yeah, to a better and more frequent degree than I can maintain. Very good stuff, people. If you haven't already, give Naya over there, give her a follow. Give her a listen as well. Tell her I said hello. Tell her she's not French. All the praise. Profit. I'll put you also in special mentions, Naya, so you might get a... after the stream is done, you might get a little pop-up that you have been tagged in the stream. There you go. But without further ado, Anakin and Padmé by Nicholas Leonard. Which I do have to read from my phone, by the way. Oh yes, in a Palpatine voice. Oh Christ, in a Palpatine voice. That's gonna... Alright, little water. That said, Naya, if you don't see the tag appear on your notifications, give me a heads up. Because sometimes YouTube doesn't really do the tag and treats it as a regular text, or I might have forgotten. I forget a lot of things. You may have noticed I have short-term memory stupidity going on. But I do have a note somewhere. Yeah, there it's on a note. I'll remember. Okay. Anakin and Padmé by Nicholas Leonard. Dr. Torment doing a Palpatine. Ooh. How far across the stars is love okay? It's as if death's the sleep where beauty paused. Ophelia was floating on the pond, the way Padmé inside her coffin lay, her dresses blue and hair as chocolate dark. Her Annie squirms somewhere across the stars. The body that she loved, the body she rolled inside the grass with on Naboo, is operated on by apparatus different from the happy droid they knew. The happy droid who was a wedding gift, who shimmied when they took their wedding kiss. By the way, a Palpatine is not easy. She isn't there to cool the crusting welts. She isn't there to marry hand and cheek. She isn't there to blow on every welt. Instead, machines repair his mangled knees. No kissing lover plummets brow to brow. The prison of his face is lowered down. The drumming in the song Helena matches with our heartbeats at the seance sound. Like she from a music box vacates her casket. It's not marked how she ballets around, because the grieving shut their eyes to pray. Nobody sees her strutting by their face. Padmé ballets throughout the surgery. So newly dead, her balance isn't whole. Where once was grace is stumbled parade, awkward momentum, first steps of a doe. Her phantom winds between the medic droids and dances while tortures weld his joints. Between her swooping laps, she drops her face to see the shell they put her husband in. She cringes because she cannot remove his mask, and cannot remove him from obsidian. And then she goes into her loop again, heart-sick about the contents of that shell. And so Padmé's an angel finally, which Annie asked her if she was the first, and now she drowns into the sea of hyperspace as Vader squeezes every medic droid. He screams, the echo pushes her away, his angel in the tunnels of hyperspace. Oh, but she wasn't always dead. On a desert planet near Naboo, you're a funny little boy, she said. Daydream of angels from Iago moons. Daydream of flying far away someday. Daydream of younglings sleeping, not awake. Her question was so bluntly innocent, and cued the forces strings to tune themselves. Oh, how the crowd applauded Anakin. Padmé exulted happily as well. A lap of friendship finished in the sun. She smiled up at him as Qui-Gon held him up. Oh, what humility she gave the boy, because his body never felt the cold. Padmé enveloped Annie in a quilt and tucked him in, a duty queens are not entailed to do unto their new subjects. Oh, but she saw him shiver, and did it nonetheless. 10 years elapsed before they met again. The grass had gotten greener on Naboo. Who was her friend became a guardian, and under all his new-found arrogance, a pair's airborne transit into a fork, Padmé's reminded of the boy she knew. Resembling mirages on Naboo, their laughter braked their rolling in the hills. They sensed the mist, the waterfall infused. They sat, debating governmental roles, where Anakin revels in Padmé's concern upon him saying, well, if it works. A statement Anakin somewhat believed. Of course, the gender civic wouldn't match, but that's not a cause to disalign. It's not a cause to panic from the grass. Padmé remained and read his face instead, with beautiful concern opposite his smirk. Oi, oi, what you doing up there? Sweetie? Okay, I'm not gonna have a look up there. There's some rumbling happening upstairs. Once again, the cat's being chaotic. Where was I? Oh god, I scrolled where I shouldn't scroll. There we are. Okay. Oi, meow. Kitty cat. Lily. Come. There's room on the desk. You want to be on the desk? Okay. Disappear, I suppose. Lamenting sand, his fingers stroked her back. Affection stranded in between their eyes. Rescued between their life preserver lips. Oh, but Padmé disrupts the kiss with shame, as quick as coming out of hyperspace. Excuse me. And Anakin just let her lips unlatch. Anakin appeared so near collapse. Of course, she was within his very soul. Within the passion fireplace is cast, how torturous illicit fervor grows. Padmé's willpower would have persevered, if not for what she felt about him. She had to breathe her breath away from him and curl her shoulder back and drop her face. The lightning crimson like a saber is, her chestnut hair restricted in a braid. The color black is dominating on the human form, the form for which he longed. How can we let a dogma stop our kiss and put our politics before our hearts? Ignoring everything our heart insists, and let relationships be ripped apart. Too loyal to political beliefs, you tarnish love and marry misery. So Anakin's confession didn't oust Padmé's responsible character traits as passion ousted Anakin so hard. He let his passion persevere instead, prepared to sacrifice knighthood for love, with little inkling it would wreck the world. Already prone to fascism daydreams, a foreign race kidnapped and killed his mum. So quick he was to turn his saber on. And then he only has Padmé to tell, oh, what depravity our flesh is sponge. She saw his hate and knew it was something else. What danger 19-year-old men display upon being disenfranchised. Oh, but Padmé comforted Anakin and rubbed his neck and let him cry. What people suffer, women solve with love. He suffered. She bestowed him something soft. A death is not a death if love's dispensed, and thus Padmé's premature final words. I think our lives are about to be destroyed anyway. I truly, deeply love you. She wasn't wearing black anymore. And then they rolled into the arena where strange mosquito-style creatures cheered. The thing she breathlessly confessed he awed, and shiny were her eyes with tears. Convinced they were about to die, they kiss, which Obi-Wan pretended not to see. Two parties wanted Anakin too much, and neither one considered what he wanted. DC as fraudulent as Coruscant is. The Jedi didn't pay him mind enough. The Chancellor encouraged his insecurities. A pregnant wife within the shadows stalked. As oysters over time create their pearls, Padmé was pregnant with a boy and girl. How quietly she told him what her love achieved, as love's designed to often make. It's like his fingers did an ultrasound while tracing lightly down her cheek. Oh, but began his nightmares, wicked dreams in which Padmé is dying during birth. Perhaps it's what his powers were for, to save Padmé from death, prolong her life, and have a family to provide for. The chief desire of almost every man. And finally, one side had achieved its cause. He's radicalized. His features flickered in the spasm of the lightning strikes before he severed Windu's hand below the wrist. Her husband cut a Jedi's right hand off, and Palpatine obtained his hideousness. He led an army up the temple steps. How many younglings had their chests unzipped, the wounds immediately cauterized by blue luminescence that thunder finds. Little bodies in the library, siblings in Padmé's stomach asleep. Kenobi stood above the holograms, transparent twisted turquoise scenes. So slowly Palpatine applied his hood, Anakin upon his knees. Elastic evil, storing energy before a generational massacre. Was that because romance was not secure? Because Padmé appeared upon the verge of death inside his dreams? Or because the council never granted him a seat? Neither changes what he did. Evil is evil. Anakin effortlessly weaseled. In between a dozen of other Jedi Knights, lightsaber spinning on his wrist, his body twists and waist rotates, his saber of a Jedi's bosom hissed. Was every murder truly done for love? Poor puppet boy, politics and love touched. She ran into his arms on Mustafar. Oh, but she didn't know him anymore. Love's finished making chase across the stars. At first it lifts her chin, and then her feet. He opened up his hand and closed her throat. How shocked she was, betrayal in brown eyes, before Kenobi shed his cloak. Hear sulphuric gases hiss, hear them taken by the smoky wind, see her cringing eyes and droopy frown, remember fireplaces on Naboo. The air on Mustafar is crimson too. Her body levitates, her body drops down. Pompeii possesses bodies like her own, serene and captured in the midst of life, involuntary beautiful things, are turned to stone. She lays unconscious while old friends fight, but still her beigeness hadn't captured ashes yet. Vesuvius vapors read their vespers. How damned the snow-white sleep she fit inside as Anakin deflected Obi-Wan's attempts until he flipped towards the volcanic shore, forelimbs and legs expertly diced. Into an angry torso at the bottom of the hill, Kenobi breaks his heart on red and yellow eyes. They were a couple space freezes without, the glacial-colored roots in hyperspace. Perhaps a reason why our ice caps melt is 'cause we lost our equilibrium. The genders don't agree and think that's cause to never love the other one again. Today, the men go mad too early on, and politics have tricked some girls to place their maternal instincts in foreign stocks. The diplomat and warrior unlace. You are the chosen one. They want so bad to groom. Imagine if Padmé and Anakin refused their dogmas, fought for neither side, and left to raise their family instead for children who will save the galaxy. And didn't Luke and Leia save it after all? A son removes his father's mask at last. You have your mother's eyes. Ooh. That was a little more lengthier, but yeah. Anakin and Padmé by Nicholas Leonard in the best Palpatine voice I could muster while reading it. Ooh, I do have to take a bit of a sip there. Ooh. Ooh. One of the reasons I like Nicholas's writing is because they are also lengthy for a poem. Like, yeah, of course, are lengthy poems, like classical ones as well, but, you know, modern touches, like the mentions of Vesuvius and today's job. Ooh. Ooh. Ooh, my lungs have to get have to get used to doing that. Oh. Okie dokie, that should do it. Yeah, I have to take a few more swallows, but yeah. Like I said, Anakin and Padmé by Nicholas Leonard. Some modern touches in it. Again, that's why I love his writings. Ooh. Water, you are my best friend. That's a long time to do a voice. I mean, yeah, thank you. Thank you, Curtis. Yes, I know. Ooh. You could say sometimes I do practice a Palpatine. I've noticed when I actually do a Palpatine voice, say about 5 minutes before I do a narration recording or another voice, it doesn't really matter. If I do silly little voices before recording, it actually helps. And then I wait for say 5 minutes before I actually start recording. It actually pre-prepares the throat, if you will. Like, yeah, I was a bit out of breath when I was done doing the Palpatine thing. But now that it's over, and my stamina's returning a little bit, my throat feels more open, if you will. Loosened. I'm trying to say it in a way that is not weird, but that really isn't. Or maybe I am making it weird. I don't know. YouTube, don't watch. This is not for kids. Well, no, never mind. Let's see, what else? You know what? Sod it, I'm going to find one of my writings. Let's see, where is my drive? I should have something somewhere. Mind, I don't really do gothic dark poetry. This is more, how should I explain it? This is more poetry that I scribbled down for a fantasy writing I made. Oh well, is in the middle of making, but I never got around to it. That's a better term. Basically to flesh out the world a little bit. You know? Does it make sense what I'm trying to say? I don't know. I want to think it does. I want to think it does. No, these are short stories. No, solid. I don't need short stories. Oh, there we are. Oh, I lumped the songs and the poems together. Oh, Christ. The shortest way I can explain it is basically I'm trying to do a Tolkien. Like that there is poetry in the story itself that is part of the story or part of the world the story is set in. That's about the best I can explain it. It's like that. Let's see. But which one shall we do? Crocodiles on the train. Crocodiles on the train. Where did I get that jingle from? Where the hell did I get that jingle from? Anyways, here we are. This is something I wrote for TJ over at Tapes of Trepidation. It's very much an original poem, and it is something I have narrated for him on his channel, so please do have a look over at his channel. Also, once again, if you are new here, I want to have a little bit of a reminder that I do have a Discord server, and if you're not on it, well, by all means, have a look on the chat. There's a link right there, right now. Hop on in. We have movie nights. We have fun. Sometimes, we lop someone off a ravine. Fun stuff happens. Who knows? Come say hello. Oh yes, I have to put on the screen what I'm doing. Almost forgot. Okie dokie. Where is my... There you are. So, this story is called... A story. Poem. A rider pale rode alone. It's basically a poem about the personification of death. Right? That's it. Who is a very, very important deity, as he should be, in my fantasy story. There. Oh, good lord. No, don't. There we are. And again, I've already narrated this one over at TJ Hodder's channel at Tapes of Trepidation. By all means. I have to keep an eye on the Discord sometimes. Alright, here we go. A Rider Pale Rode Alone, written by yours truly. Here we go. Our lands were young, still teeming green, no stains on maps were then seen. A rider pale rode between hills and seas, cold was its gaze upon both wicked and free. No words bespoke, no culture born, when death there rode, and rode alone. His veil was seen, his reach was long, as he rode, a dirge was sung, of life beyond and silver heavens, and the places where the fire beckons. Christ, hold on. Am I slipping into my Palpatine? Holy crap. In his hand, no care for age nor life spent, merely a wise word before your end. Our lands were fair with pillars tall before the days our stories fall, of mighty realms that conquered on and great rulers who now sleep beyond. In plague and fire they were waved away, the world sighed gladly on death's good days. His scythe reaped long and swept away that petty gods dared not say. The garden withered, the apple plucked, a light fell where darkness struck. And there still demons and angels swore that death still rode, and rode alone. Our world is grey, our souls grew old, the myth's long warmth is ashen cold. No dirges sung, no veil would fall, a darkness laid upon us all. The silver cities and fires once waiting closed their gates for our berating. But still in the last dreams and more, a pale rider comes and beckons forth. He rides alone, yet with a promise steep, to reap all before our final sleep. And voila, A Rider Pale rode alone by yours truly. That was me. I wrote that, and I just narrated it for you. There you go. Ooh. Again, it's not from anything published or things like that. It's, again, from a fantasy writing. I'm basically writing, but it's put on hold for quite a while now. I still dabble in it from time to time when I feel the itch. Also, hello, Jinxie, welcome. Hello, how you doing? My favorite mod finally coming to the stream near the end of it. But also, hello and welcome. Actually, near the end of it, I might just prolong it a little bit more, because why not? It's my stream, I can do what I want with it. Well, still within the bounds of YouTube, but still. What's this? Man with shimmering eyes. What the hell is this? What is this that I wrote? Oh, it's unfinished. No, we are not gonna do this then. They are not gonna... Oh, wait. Oh, yes? No. This one is unfinished. I don't read unfinished stuff. I have standards, don't you know? There was another one that I wanted to read. Where the hell are you? Oi. Poem, which name I have forgotten. Where are you? Poem, I'm looking for you. Where the hell are you? What is this? What are you? The Breaking of the South. I don't even remember this. I'm looking for something specific I wrote. It's short. It is short. Fall of the First People? No, not you. I'm not looking for you. Tavern Song? The hell is the Tavern Song? Christ, how drunk was I when I was writing that? Like, there's no spelling errors or anything, but just the way it goes, it's just like, okay, what the hell was I drinking? Not you. Ah, there we are. Oh, Jinxie, you went to the farmer's market. How did that go? Did you buy anything nice? Sorry for the sniffles, everybody. I don't know, that it just started happening as I was reading the Palpatine stuff. Perhaps a reaction? I don't know. Okay, so this one is another one that I've written, and after that we'll move on back to other poems, obviously. First things first, where was I? Where is my OBS? There you are. Hello, OBS. I'd like to change the title here, if you don't mind. So a little bit of lore context here. This is something about a elven king that is courting a elven healer. who would later in the story become queen. Or in the prehistory, I should say, really. It's not part of the main story, it's more part of the overall history in that world. But yeah, basically, it's a bit of a challenge. I'll let the poems... You know what, I'll read the poem, you can make whatever with it. How that went between the two. Let's see, went to the farm's wrong... No, I already read that. Oh. Tzatziki, spicy feta, pita, Hungarian sausage, and a bunch of veggies. Always get the veggies. All the Greek stuff. Indeed. So, Song of the King and Kindler, once again by yours truly. Should be a little shorter, but here we go. Also, hello, Angel. Welcome. Hey, hello, Angel. Yeah, it's been a while. How have you been? Just that you're up to date here. Poetry stream, so I'm only narrating poems, and the previous one and this one are poems that I've written for a dark fantasy setting that I've written up. I never really got returned to, but I do dabble here and there. Okay, with that out of the way, the Song of the King and Kindler. Well, it's not a song, but it's the document title. I'm not gonna sing it. Summer's night they sang, and through hills it rang. A kindler and king, together they sing. The king wove words fair of harshness to come, from rot's black lair of which all good shuns. Before darkness grows and come all woes, take arms and fight for all enduring light. The sharpened sword needs stone, those were his words from a life alone. Chanting soft as spring, the fair kindler sings. All may yet soar until waters roar, but the world will heal without our need. All ages pass as the shedding of leaves. Rejoice, within lay the seeds and Laureus' thoughts, their gladness sought, till Miravor calls, even rot shall fall. Back and forth they threw their song, power and magic never more strong. Their song then loud and both their thoughts, and all their might and crafts they wrought. Of elven kind most blooming home, softly in the winds where they roamed. Singing which rose the ringed hills, all that day could feel the chill. Before all light and darkness come, their voices quelled, so ends their song. And that's that. Again, it's a rather short one, but it's one that I wanted to read for a while now. It is done. Off my bucket list. I can now die and... You know what? No, I'm not gonna say that. I'm not gonna finish that sentence. Who knows what is going to happen. But you get what I mean. I always wanted to read this one. Now I get to. Angel, I'm good. Been taking care of some stuff in my personal life. Sorry I've been AMI. Never apologize for being busy. No, Angel. Never apologize to anyone for being busy, alright? It's your life. Nobody has any business telling you how to live your life. If you're busy, you're busy. Yeah, you don't need to apologize to anyone for that. I think that's reasonable, yes? I mean, again, chat, if I'm wrong, by all means, correct me. But yeah, still, happy to have you here, Angel. It's been a while. Let's see. Okie dokie. Next poem on the docket. What shall we do? What shall we do? Ooh, you know what? I know a good one. Now again, a little bit of blasphemy because this is from a French guy. I know, the French. But it is a nice little poem once more. I'm gonna put it on the screen now. It has multiple names. It has multiple names and multiple... What the hell? Become a mafia boss. Build your own mafia empire. Control criminals and become the legend of Mafia Way. Really? Really ads? You think that I would like this? Thank you, but no. Sod off. Go away. Send feedback. I don't know. Not interested. There you go. Where was I? Ah, yes. They're just getting more and more ridiculous with these ads. Unbelievable. Okay, where was I? The ads, Jinx, can go suck on a walnut. So as I said, there are multiple names and translations to this particular poem. Ah, there it is. By Charles Baudelaire. A little bit smaller. There you go. Okay, next on the docket, The Corpse / The Carcass by Charles Baudelaire. I was just reading the chat. Cindy says, hey, a poem about me. I mean, no, I don't think. Oh well. But let us begin. Remember that object we saw, dear soul, in the sweetness of a summer morn, at a bend of the path of a loathsome carrion, on a bed with pebbles strewn, with legs raised like a lustful woman, burning and sweating poisons. It spread open, nonchalant and scornful, its belly ripe with exhalations. The sun shone into that rotting heap, as if to bring it to the boil, and tender 100-fold to vast nature all that together she had joined. And the sky watched that superb carcass like a flower blossom out. The stench was so strong that on the grass you thought you would pass out. Flies hummed upon the putrid belly, whence larvae in black battalions spread, and like a heavy liquid flowed along the tatters deliquescing. All together it unfurled, and rose like a wave, and bubbling it sprang forth. One might have believed that, with a faint breath filled, the body, multiplying, lived. And this world gave out a strange music, like of running water and of wind, or of grain in a winnow, rhythmically shaken and tossed. Form was erased, and all but a vision, a sketch slow to take shape on a forgotten canvas which the artist finishes from memory alone. Behind the rocks, a fretting bitch looked at us with fierce mien, anxious to retrieve from the corpse a morsel that she had dropped. Yeah, alright, that's quite some language. Ooh. Yet to this rot you shall be like, to this horrid corruption, star of my eyes, son of desire, you, my angel and my passion. Yes, such you shall be, you, queen of all graces, after the last sacraments, when you go beneath the grass and waxy flowers to mould among the skeletons. Then, O my beauty, you must tell the vermin, as it eats you up with kisses, that I have preserved the form and essence divine of my decayed loves. And there you go, The Carcass, or The Corpse, by Charles Baudelaire. He has a way of words, good old Charlie. Bit rude, I must say. But hey, who isn't these days? Let's see, what shall be next? Again, chat, if you have any suggestions on poems. Oh, wait, didn't Curtis, didn't you give me a Shakespearean suggestion? If it isn't too long, I might be able to squeeze it in. But did I say Curtis? Yes, I say. Let's have a looky in the chat. Can I find it back? Who knows? I'm not a rhymer. Oopsie daisy. I don't think I can find it back. Alright, Jinxie, The Raven I will read, but that's going to be the last poem of the live stream. It's already reserved, basically. I have time for 2 more poems before that. And then we're going to say good night. But again, I need to have 2 more poems. It's a part of a play, not sure how hard to find. Okay, like that. Okay, gotcha. Right, I cannot really find back what was meant there. Apparently the chat doesn't scroll that far back up. But if you can tell me which play or where exactly in the play it is, by all means, I might be able to find it and slot it in. Let's see. Speaking of suggestions, are there any? I don't see any. That's fine. I have quite some here. Right, Titus Andronicus. Actually, let me go ahead and search for that one now. Titus Andronicus. Is it the one in Act 3, Scene 1, that monologue? It's some kind of a monologue about tears as rain for the earth and stuff like that. Now, Jinx, The Telltale Heart is not a poem. We are only doing poems here. At least in this live stream we are. But The Telltale Heart is on the docket to make a video of in due time, don't you worry. You know what we're gonna do, Curtis? We're gonna do this one another time, because Shakespeare does have a lot of these. Yeah, let's see. When he captures the brothers that tortures his daughter, and he says that he's going to do to them. Let's see. Okay, yeah, that requires me to still do a bit of search, which I do not have the time for at the moment. But, Curtis, do give me a heads up in the next live stream, poem or not, that I should have that at my disposal. Let's see, Naya, do you want to read The Road Not Taken by Frost? Robert Frost, The Road Not Taken. That I can do. Let's see. I am going to save Titus Andronicus here for Curtis the next time. Here we are. Voila. Now, Robert Frost. The Road Not Taken. The 4th act. I could put it in the Discord when I find it. Yes, you can put it in the Discord, and there's a channel called a what is it again? Narration suggestions or something along those lines. By all means, if you find it, drop it in there, and I'll get to it in the next live stream. Ah, there it is. The Road Not Taken. It's a bit short. I might be able to do 2 more after this one, but request from Naya, The Road Not Taken by Robert Frost, which I also need to put on the screen. God damn it. No, stream. No. Please, OBS, work with me. There you go. See, was it not? It wasn't hard. This is the second Robert Frost poem we have. I believe I've read this to someone else somewhere last year, but I cannot recall who and what. Hey, hello Isha, welcome to the stream. Comment ça va? We certainly weren't laughing at the French today. No, all of you shut up. We didn't. I mean, I did. I don't know about you guys, but I was certainly laughing at the French. Not at you, Isha, just France in general. Because that is me. And I am doing very good, thank you. I'm in a good mood. The Melancholy Death of Oyster Boy by Tim Burton. I will actually have a quick look at that one after The Road Not Taken. But without further ado, The Road Not Taken by Robert Frost, as requested by Naya. Two roads diverged in a yellow wood, and sorry I could not travel both. And be one traveller long I stood and looked down one as far as I could to where it bent in the undergrowth. Then took the other as just as fair, and having perhaps the better claim, because it was grassy and wanted wear. Though as for the passing there, had worn them really about the same. And both that morning equally lay in leaves no step had trodden black. Oh, I kept the first for another day. Yet knowing how way leads on to way, I doubted if I should ever come back. I shall be telling this with a sigh. Somewhere ages and ages hence, two roads diverged in a wood, and I took the one less traveled by. And that has made all the difference. And there we are. The Road Not Taken by Robert Frost. Let's see, The Melancholy Death of Oyster Boy by Tim Burton. I am familiar with that. I'm just not entirely sure if that's public domain. Because, you know, Tim Burton still being around for one. And I'm not entirely sure if there is a patent with that. Still with live streams, should be going good. Oh wait, isn't that that's a whole book? More. That's a different story. Can't read a whole book. Oh wait, no, there's actually just a... Okay, no, it's not a book. Okay, no, we got it. I got this. Let's see, I first have to... I'm gonna copy-paste that. Why can't I copy-paste that in... Oh, you're gonna be like this, are you? Well... Luckily for you, I am lazy, and I have a return to the last page button. What do you say about that, Internet? Nah, see, now I can copy it still. Ha ha ha. Let's see. Properties. Reading. That is a long title. By the legendary Tim Burton, who made my childhood with Nightmare Before Christmas. Ooh, do have to make this a little smaller. There we are. And Isha, don't think I've forgotten about you, because next live stream I will be showing that few fan pieces you made of me. Yes, don't you worry. I'll be getting to you next. But without further ado, The Melancholy Death of Oyster Boy by Tim Burton. He proposed in the dunes. They were wed by the sea. Their 9-day-long honeymoon was on the Isle of Capri. For their summer they had one spectacular dish, a simmering stew of mollusks and fish. And while he savored the broth, her bride's heart made a wish. That wish came true. She gave birth to a baby. But was this little one human? Well, maybe. 10 fingers, 10 toes, he had plumbing and sight, he could hear, he could feel, but normal not quite. This unnatural birth, this canker, this blight, was the start and the end and the sum of their plight. She railed at the doctor. He cannot be mine, he smells of he smells of the ocean, of seaweed and brine. You should count yourself lucky, for only last week I treated a girl with 3 ears and a beak. That your son is half oyster, you cannot blame me. Have you ever considered, by chance, a small home by the sea? Not knowing what to name him, they just called him Sam, or sometimes that thing that looks like a clam. Everyone wondered, but no one could tell. When would young oyster boy come out of his shell? When the Thompsons quadruplets espied him one day, they called him a bivalve and ran quickly away. One spring afternoon, Sam was left in the rain at the southwestern corner of Southview and Main. He watched the rain water as it swirled down the drain. His mom was on the freeway in the breakdown lane. His mom on the freeway in the breakdown lane was pounding the dashboard. She couldn't contain the ever-rising grief, frustration, and pain. Really, sweetheart, she said, I don't mean to make fun, but something smells fishy, and I think it's our son. I don't like to say this, but it must be said. You're blaming our son for your problems in bed. This is so much fun to do. You can't tell, but I'm actually smiling while I'm reading this. This is fun. Thank you for this, Curtis, for the suggestion. He tried salves, he tried ointments that turned everything red. He tried potions and lotions and tincture of lead. He ached and he itched and he twitched and he bled. The doctor diagnosed, I can't quite be sure, but the cause of the problem may also be the cure. They say oysters improve your sexual prowess. Perhaps eating your son would help you do it for hours. He came on tiptoe, he came on the sly, sweat on his forehead and on his hips a lie. Son, are you happy? I don't mean to pry, but do you dream of heaven? Have you ever wanted to die? Sam blinked his eyes twice but made no reply. Dad fingered his knife and loosened his tie. As he picked up his son, Sam dripped on his coat. With the shell to his lips, Sam slipped down his throat. They buried him quickly in the sand by the sea, sighed a prayer, wept a tear, and they were back home by 3. A cross of grey driftwood marked Oyster Boy's grave. Words written in the sand promised Jesus would save. But his memory was lost with one high tide wave. Okay, as soon as I said that this poem was making me smile, then it turned to that, and it's like, oh, okay. Still had fun, though. Again, thank you, Curtis, for that one. Okay, I can do one more, and then it's off to the Raven. Let's see. You know what? There's Lord Byron. I'm gonna do one of Lord Byron. That's what I'm going to do. But which one? Which one? There were 2 of Lord Byron's that I like a lot. No, I've already done Solitude, haven't I? Yes, that's in the channel. Everybody can watch that one. Ah, here's one. My absolute favorite one of Lord Byron. Yes, we're gonna do this. And then it's off to the Raven. We had fun today, haven't we? I like to think we have had fun. Not only me, but everybody in the chat. Do let me know if that's not so, if there are some things that I need to work on. And they called him a Byron. Yes, House of Jen says it well. It went from silly and fun to darkly sussy pretty quickly. Yeah, it really did. Curtis, one of my faves, the whole book is like that, but someone's sentence. Yeah, you know what? Again, Curtis, thank you for that one. Like, yeah, I didn't expect it to turn so dark after reading the silliness. I was like, oh, okay, typical Tim Burton silliness, right? And then suddenly, oh. All right, Hannibal Lecter. Tone down. And they called him a bivalve. Yeah, that one. That's what did it. Of which I have made loads. Wait, Isha, what do you mean of which you've made loads of what? Did you make chibis out of me too? Oh, you're gonna send me some DMs right now, mademoiselle. You better. I want to see them. Immediate. But first, Darkness by Lord Byron. I had a dream, which was not all a dream. The bright sun was extinguished, and the stars did wander darkling in the eternal space. Railers and pathless, and the icy earth swung blind and blackening in the moonless air. Morn came and went, and came, and brought no day. And men forgot their passions in the dread of this their desolation, and all hearts were chilled into a selfish prayer for light. And they did live by watchfires, and the thrones, the palaces of crowned kings, the huts, the habitations of all things which dwell were burned for beacons. Cities were consumed, and men were gathered round their blazing homes to look once more into each other's face. Happy were those who dwelt within the eye of the volcanoes and their mountain torch. A fearful hope was all the world contained. Forests were set on fire, but hour by hour they fell and faded, and the crackling trunks extinguished with a crash, and all was black. The brows of men by the despairing light wore an unearthly aspect, as by fits the flashes fell upon them. Some lay down and hid their eyes and wept, and some did rest their chins upon their clenched hands and smiled, and others hurried to and fro, and fed their funeral piles with fuel, and looked up with mad disquietude on the dull sky. The pall of the past whirled, and then again with curses cast them down upon the dust, and gnashed their teeth and howled. The wild birds shrieked, and terrified did flutter on the ground, and flapped their useless wings. The wildest brutes came tame and tremulous, and vipers crawled and twined themselves among the multitude. Hissing but stingless, they were slain for food. And war, which for a moment was no more, did glutton himself again. A meal was bought with blood, and each sate sullenly apart, gorging himself in gloom. No love was left. All earth was but one thought, and that was death, immediate and inglorious, and a pang of famine fed upon all entrails. Men died, and their bones were tombless as their flesh. The meagre by the meagre were devoured, even dogs assailed their masters, all save one, and he was faithful to a cause, and kept the birds and beasts and famished men at bay, till hunger clung to them, or the dropping dead lured their lank jaws. Himself sought out no food, but with a piteous and perpetual moan and a quick desolate cry, licking the hand which answered not with a caress, he died. The crowd was famished by degrees, but two of an enormous city did survive, and they were enemies. They met beside the dying embers of an altar place where had been heaped a mass of holy things for an unholy usage. They raked up, and shivering scraped with their cold skeleton hands the feeble ashes, and their feeble breath blew for a little life, and made a flame which was a mockery. Then they lifted up their eyes as it grew lighter, and beheld each other's aspect, saw and shrieked and died. Even of their mutual hideousness they died, unknowing who he was upon whose brow famine had written Fiend. The world was void, the populous and the powerful was a lump, seasonless, herbless, treeless, manless, lifeless, a lump of death, a chaos of hard clay. The rivers, lakes, and oceans all stood still, and nothing stirred within their silent depths. Ships sailorless lay rotten on the sea, and their masts fell down piecemeal as they dropped. They slept on the abyss without a surge, the waves were dead, the tides were in their grave, the moon, their mistress, had expired before, the winds were withered in the stagnant air, and the clouds perished. Darkness had no need of aid from them. She was the universe. Et voila, Darkness by Lord Byron, aka George Gordon. As I said, when it comes to Lord Byron, there are a lot of poems that I like about him, but chief among these are Darkness and Solitude. Solitude I will not read today, maybe another day, but if you really want to hear me read it, it's on the channel, by all means. Let me have a look in the chat here again. Curtis says, Jen, you reminded me of doing mic checks and coming up with as many random words, starting with, oh yes, BS and PS and S. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to say that last one out loud there. I had to stop myself there. Ooh. So everybody still enjoying the stream now that we have reached the end? Or what do you say? Should I continue on? I think I should. I do have a time schedule to keep on though. I shouldn't indulge. Indulgence is sin, as they say. I have a whole cadre of tongue twisters for that. You know what? I can believe that, Jen. I can believe that. There's also a joke to be made there. But I'm gonna be mature today. I'm gonna be very mature today. Let's see here. Subjan says, loving it. I know. But alas, it has come to an end. But as promised, my final excuse me. No. Don't do that, OBS. Please. Don't ever do that again. We were not going into intermission. Okay, as I was saying, as promised, one final poem, and it will be The Raven by Edgar Allan Poe. Let me just put that on the screen. There we are. By Edgar Allan Poe. A little bit bigger because, you know, it's the last one of the stream. Ta-da! Oh, So yeah, as of now, I'm not taking any more suggestions if there were any. No, apparently not, according to the Q&A. This is a fine. Because we have ended for today. Now, join me in the last poem for today, The Raven by Edgar Allan Poe. Once upon a midnight dreary, while I pondered, weak and weary, over many a quaint and curious volume of forgotten lore, while I nodded nearly napping, suddenly there came a tapping, as of someone gently rapping at my chamber door. "'Tis some visitor," I muttered, tapping at my chamber door. Only this, and nothing more. Ah, distinctly I remember it. It was in the bleak December, and each separate dying ember roared its ghosts upon the floor. Eagerly I wished the morrow, vainly I had sought to borrow from my books surcease of sorrow, sorrow for the lost Lenore, for the rare and radiant maiden whom the angels name Lenore, nameless here forevermore. And the silken, sad, uncertain rustling of each purple curtain thrilled me, filled me with fantastic terrors never felt before, so that now, to still the beating of my heart, I stood repeating, "'Tis some visitor entreating entrance at my chamber door. Some late visitor entreating entrance at my chamber door. This it is and nothing more." Presently my soul grew stronger, hesitating then no longer. "Sir," said I, "or madam, truly your forgiveness I implore, but the fact is I was napping, and so gently you came rapping, and so faintly you came tapping at my chamber door, that I scarce was sure I heard you. Here I opened wide the door. Darkness there, and nothing more." Deep into that darkness peering, long I stood there, wondering, fearing, doubting, dreaming dreams no mortal ever dared to dream before. But the silence was unbroken, and the stillness gave no token, and the only word there spoken was the whispered word, "Lenore?" This I whispered, and an echo murmured back the word, "Lenore?" Merely this, and nothing more. Back into the chamber turning, all my soul within me burning, soon again I heard a tapping somewhat louder than before. "Surely," said I, "surely that is something at my window lattice. Let me see then what there it is, and this mystery explore. Let my heart be still a moment, and this mystery explore. 'Tis the wind, and nothing more." Open here I flung the shutter, when with many a flirt and flutter, in there stepped a stately raven of the saintly days of yore. Not the least obeisance made he, not the minute stopped or stayed he, but with mien of lord or lady perched above my chamber door, perched upon a bust of Pallas just above my chamber door, perched and said, and nothing more. Then this ebony bird beguiling my sad fancy into smiling, by the grave and stern decorum of the countenance it wore. "Though thy crest be shorn and shaven, thou," I said, "art sure no craven, ghastly, grim, and ancient raven, wandering from the nightly shore. Tell me what thy lordly name is on the night's Plutonian shore." Quoth the raven, "Nevermore." Much I marvelled this ungainly fowl to hear discourse so plainly, though its answer little meaning, little relevancy bore, for we cannot help agreeing that no living human being ever yet blessed with seeing bird above his chamber door, bird or beast upon the sculptured bust above his chamber door, with such a name as Nevermore. But the raven, sitting lonely on the placid bust, spoke only that one word, as if his soul in that one word he did outpour. Nothing farther than he uttered, not a feather than he fluttered. Still I scarcely more than muttered, other friends have flown before. On the morrow he will leave me, as my hopes have flown before. Then the bird said, Nevermore. Startled at the stillness broken by replies so aptly spoken, doubtless, said I, what it mutters is its only stock and store, caught from some unhappy master, whom unmerciful disaster followed fast and followed faster, till his songs one burden bore, till the dirges of his hope that melancholy burden bore, of never, nevermore. But the raven, still beguiling all his fancy into smiling, straight I wheeled a cushioned seat in front of bird and bust and door. Then upon the velvet sinking, I betook myself to linking fancy unto fancy, thinking what this ominous bird of yore, what this grim, ungainly, ghastly, gaunt and ominous bird of yore meant in croaking Nevermore. This I said engaged in guessing, no syllable expressing to the fowl whose fiery eyes now burned into my bosom's core. This and more I said divining, with my head at ease reclining on the cushion's velvet lining that the lamplight gloated o'er, but whose velvet violet lighting but whose velvet violet lining with the lamplight gloating o'er she shall press, nevermore. Then methought the air grew denser, perfumed from an unseen censer, swung by seraphim whose footfalls tinkled on the tufted floor. Wretch, I cried, thy God hath lent thee, by these angels he hath sent thee, respite, respite and nepenthe from thy memories of Lenore. Quaff, oh quaff this kind nepenthe, and forget this lost Lenore. Quoth the raven, Nevermore. Prophet, said I, thing of evil, prophet still, if bird or devil, where the tempter sent, or where the tempest tossed thee here ashore, desolate, yet all undaunted on this desert land, enchanted, on this home by horror haunted, tell me truly, I implore, is there balm in Gilead? Tell me, I implore. Quoth the raven, Nevermore. Prophet, said I, thing of evil, prophet still, if bird or devil, by that heaven that bends above us, by that God we both adore, tell this soul with sorrow laden, within the distant Aden it shall clasp a sainted maiden, whom the angels name Lenore. Clasp a rare and radiant maiden, whom the angels name Lenore. Quoth the raven, Nevermore. Be that word our sign of parting, bird or fiend, I shrieked up, starting. Get thee back into the tempest and the night's Plutonian shore. Leave no black plume as a token of that lie thy soul hath spoken. Leave my loneliness unbroken. Quit the bust above my door. Take thy beak from out my heart, and take thy form from off my door. Quoth the raven, Nevermore. And the raven, never flitting, still is sitting on the pallid bust of Pallas, just above my chamber door, and his eyes have all the seeming of a demon's that is dreaming, and the lamplight o'er him streaming throws his shadow on the floor, and my soul from out that shadow that lies floating on the floor shall be lifted nevermore. Ta-da! That was The Raven by Edgar Allan Poe. The final poem for this live stream. That took a little bit out of me. And somewhere in between I was trying to drink from my glass and I was wondering, why the hell don't I feel the water coming in? And well, my glass has been empty for a while, it turns out. Whoopsie daisy. It happens. Whew. I do hope that everybody enjoyed this and every other reading we've had so far in the stream. I say so far as if I'm going to continue after this one. But who knows, maybe the next live stream shall be also more of a hangout / poetry reading. I don't know, I still have to decide. I still have a few minutes, so I won't be reading any more poems, but we can hang out a little bit. By all means, let's do the Q&A section. Do you have questions for me? Do you want to know what's going to happen in the future? I don't know, I'm not clairvoyant, but hey, it doesn't hurt to ask. By all means, I am open to any and all questions within reason. I'm certainly not sounding sinister on purpose. We wouldn't want that. Why, hello there, Snoopaloo. How you doing? Come. Hello, Vici. Hello. So one of my cats right now is basically thrusting her head onto me. Because she wants attention. She wants the patty pats, don't she, sweetie? Yeah. Oh. I know, sweet she. And you didn't interrupt during the readings. Oh, you were the nice one, weren't you, princess? I know. Curtis, straight with the right question. When is the next live? I want to be here when you read Shakespeare. Well, here's the thing. When it comes to a video, like actual narration videos, I don't count shorts as narration videos. Just an FYI. But when you see me posting about a video or a live stream, those will always happen on Saturday. So that is something that I will be doing from now on. Saturday, there will always be something happening, right? It will either be a video of a story narration, if you will. It will either be a hangout / reading live stream, or it will be a gaming live stream. Either, doesn't really matter. Upsity bipsity. Saturday it will always be something, and Wednesday is reserved for exclusive content, of which I have 2 specially made for me theme songs on the channel. And also for shorts. That's where I post shorts. On YouTube, that is. When I can, I will say. So Wednesdays is not always guaranteed something will happen. Saturdays, I'm trying as much as possible. That's that. Next question from House of Jen. What's your current favorite story? Oh, my answer is always going to be The Lord of the Rings. Why? Why? You know this, Jen. I mean, Jen, come on. You know me. You have to be specific with the genre. If you're gonna ask me which story do you like in your life, yeah, it's always gonna be Lord of the Rings. Come on, Jen. Jesus, work along with us here. No, Jinx, no, we are not, no. No. See, I see what you're trying to do, Jinx. I see what you're trying to do. See, Jinx there, my mod, is trying to get me to rant about Rings of Power and Amazon. I will not be drawn into a rant in my own live stream. No, no, it's not gonna happen. Okay, but nice try. Favorite horror story? Again, kind of have to be specific, because if you're looking at classical stories, obviously Dracula, which I'm also working on at snail's pace, but I'm working on it. As of when it comes to stories that I already have on the channel, though, on horror stories, I really cannot pinpoint one, because every time I do a video or a story narration, it basically is at the moment my favorite one. That makes sense. But overall, I would say as a top 3 without knowing which one is 1, 2, and 3, but just the 3 most enjoyable stories I've had on the channel would be the Russian sleep experiment. She ate my... Wait, no. I hunted the Wendigo that ate my sister, or in short, it ate my sister. And the deal that doomed Salem. Now, that one I actually want to remake for several reasons. It's basically one of the first stories I did on the channel in terms of longer narrations, right? In terms of visualization, ambient soundtrack, the whole shebang. Yeah. Curtis, Russian sleep experiment is one of my faves. By all means, I have it on the channel. It's quote-unquote one of the more recent stories, but then again, I think it's been a few months ago. Let me have a look. Let me have a quick look before we sound off. Gonna have a look for you, Curtis. Let's see. When did I... 14th of June. Okay, so it has been a while. Oh my god. See, this is what I meant. I'm basically a one-man team when it comes to making narration videos, and I really do like the way that I make the videos. Like, there's visualization, ambience, music, like immersion. Right, I like immersion visually and with audio. But it takes time. It really takes time. There is a story in the works right now I'm working on. It's more of a happy ending story, which is not something I do a lot, but since it was a story that has been given to me by an author, I do make exceptions like that. But that's about all I can say at the moment. I'm gonna keep that one under the wraps, if you will. But with that said, ladies and gentlemen, that is all the time that I have for you today. I do hope that everybody enjoyed our poetry live stream. I certainly did. I certainly did. And who knows, maybe I'll do more of these poetry streams in the future. And I might even implore on Discord or on the community tab of the channel to submit suggestions of things that I haven't read that you'd like to see on the next live streams. Who knows? I'm gonna give it a think. I'll definitely discuss it with Jinx. Also, Jinx, I'm not going to comment on that thing you said, on that abominable thing you said over there. I refuse to engage in that. But nice try, though. I'm glad to see that everybody did have fun. So, in summary, we have had fun. There was a lot of poetry read. We're definitely going to do it again. Next live stream, it will either be a hangout or a gaming stream. And if it's going to be a gaming stream, I have a nice Lovecraftian game waiting to be seen by everyone. Don't you worry. It's gonna be fun. It's a story I have done on the channel, mind, but this time we're gonna do it in game form. But we'll see when that happens. Cannot promise if that will be next week or in 2 weeks from now. Who knows? And lastly, I think that's about it. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone, for joining me tonight on this session. And remember, in tenebris veritas.